Everyday superpower. We talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. All right, I got to talk to you about talking to women or talking to anyone generally. Talking full stop. This is something not many people take into consideration because they probably don't think with much depth about it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a description here. It's not completely going to be scientific based. I'm just going to read you the scientific description of what I am going to be discussing, and then I'm just going to, in layman's terms, give you a few, pointers. Okay, a little bit of personal philosophy and so forth. So we're going to talk about schemas. And what's a schema? Okay, what is a schema? Well, in psychology, a schema refers to a mental framework or concept that helps organize and interpret information, right? It's a cognitive structure that allows individuals to categorize and understand new information by relating it to existing knowledge and experiences. Essentially, it's a blueprint for how we think, behave, and perceive the world around us. Okay, so let me just see if there's any further information here. Okay, so schemas influence our perception, memory, and problem-solving abilities. They can affect what information we pay attention to, how we interpret it, and how we remember it. Okay, so have you ever played a word association game where one says a word, perhaps? I mean, I've not, so, what does it matter? But someone, let's just make one up on the spot, bare basic. Someone says a word, and then you have to quickly respond with what you associate with that word, and then they have to say a word with what associates with that, okay? When we hear something or see something, it opens up multiple pathways in our brain, at the very least our subconscious, that might arise a conscious thought, okay? So if I look at the whiteboard before me, I might subconsciously apply that whiteboard in a regressive sense to a whiteboard from back in primary school, I might apply it to a smart board, which was a technological board that got introduced when I was younger, when we stopped using whiteboards and started to use technology, or at least, a higher degree of technology. If you look at a cleaning product, you might associate that with carcinogenic bad stuff that you can't inhale, and then that might have a knock-on effect to the time when you were working with carcinogenic products. Maybe you were a painter. So everything has an association, and this is the unconscious relation we have in a broader degree to these products and these items and these words. Okay, so words have an association too, based upon your history and, experience with them. So we were watching a video together the other day, and it was based on dating. Okay, a guy introduces himself to a woman, beautiful man. They start talking. She says, "What do you do?" Okay, he says, "I'm a musician." Now, his outward appearance was that which relates to not a very successful musician, okay? It went hand in hand, it was understandable. Even if... Let's not talk about no evens if. We're talking about schemas here and word association. So he puts forward musician. Now, when you think of musician, what do you think of? If you think of a random guy who's a musician, what do you think of? Do you think he is performing in stadiums? Do you think he is... a YouTube phenomena? Do you think that he is successful? If you are realistic, probably not, because the grand number of musicians are not successful whatsoever, right? They don't garner enough resource to establish an independent means of living away from their parents, enough to pay their bills, their rent, enough to own houses and so forth. Generally speaking, that's not the case. So if you were to put that forward to a grown-up woman who is looking for security, looking for a professional, looking for a man who has something that which might be attractive to the younger woman, the creative, expressive, emotive man or boy, to a grown woman is but a bum. Whereas if this guy put forth that he is a creative per se, it muddies the water a little bit. It allows a sense of mystery. It allows a broader sense of fascination to her brilliant imagination. She loves fantasy. She's fascinated in fantasy. She likes the Twilight series. She likes all this and that. Now, when you think of creator, what do you think? Her mind might go to content creator. And a content creator, like, what the hell does that mean? You're a bum. Okay? It falls within the same realm as musician. Arguably, entrepreneur does too. You need to find a means of portraying yourself, what you do and how you engage, with enjoyable, poetic, colourful language. I'll give you a bit of game. Back when I was on date, I mean, this is a great way to do it on dating apps and whatnot, where you engage over text, because it allows them food for thought. You insinuate. You don't drive forward. You have them pursue you. You have their imagination stimulated to a degree above and beyond all the other men who are engaging with them. So if there's an undercurrent of sexuality that she can't put her finger on, her mind might continue to explore that path. So when I say you're a pleasure, what do you associate pleasure with? If I say, yeah, it was a great success yesterday, I was in ecstasy, what do you associate that with? Hey, I'm not saying anything wrong here. If you add up the dots and that's what you align these words to, that's up to you, darling. So you start planting seeds. Is it manipulation? It's exciting. It's seduction. As opposed to the man who is fully frontal, talking about sexy time. Okay? We talk indirectly. We create a subcontext, a sub-language. She asks what you do. Give us an example. What do we do? Either I work in construction or I'm good with my hands. I work with my hands, generally. What do you mean you work with your hands? Women are attracted to men's hands because men's hands showcase masculinity. Women like big hands, which is a place I'm not familiar with, by the way, people. My hands aren't big. Do you know, you go on a date with people, oh, let's compare the size of our hands, which is an excuse to touch hands and be personal, right? Bro, at that point, generally speaking, she says, nah, she doesn't have bigger hands than me, but you know what I mean? I don't overbear her with this masculine essence and physiognomy, or physiology, actually, that, you know, she might get elsewhere. But understanding oneself and to be able to laugh at that is confidence. So, I work with my hands, darling. How about you? And then you switch it up. Oh, no, but what do you do? No. What do you do? She starts talking to herself. She starts qualifying herself. You can tell her what you do in due time, but leave her asking for it. Play the game. If you work in construction, she might have a perspective based upon what she associates that with. The working class, labourer, who's not necessarily qualified. Or she might have a member of family who is a qualified tradesperson and she is ununderstanding of the financial revenue it can bring in. Maybe. So it's a matter of perspective, it's a matter of opinion. If she perceives you are like her father, what does father mean to her? Caring, providing, loving? Or does she see the father figure as a cold, dark entity, that which she's frightened of? Absent or present? What pathways are opened in her mind when you engage with her? Hey, do you want to do some research? Do you want to get good at talking to women? Go buy a flipping thesaurus. Read a thesaurus. I've tried. I've tried. I've not got very far in it, but if you manage to do that, geez Louise, the spectacular vocabulary you would develop and be able to put into play would be magnificent. It would put you above and beyond the general populace as far as how you can engage with women, no doubt. What are you reading? She asks. The dictionary. What do you associate the dictionary with? Boring? Vocabulary? Intelligent? What does she think to that? That's unique. Nobody would ever say that. That would never ever cross my mind. Is that not boring? Well, it's not the most exciting or thrilling, but allows me to stimulate your imagination with my words a little better, right? Understand the words you speak are like magical spells. Imagine if you went into a particular community, right, and proclaimed with your chest the N-word with a hard ER. Imagine you did that. The emotional reaction you would garner would be a sight to see. So when you look at that, do you not think you are casting a magic spell per se? The words you say can create emotional reactions. And, you know, maybe it was a bit cheap for me to use that as an example, but the point stands. It's a powerful word. And in the word being powerful, why can't you utilize that to your benefit when it comes to the dating world? Use powerful, fruity, flowerful words. Is flowerful a word or not? Who knows? But it'll get you thinking. It'll get her thinking. You say it with such confidence, she thinks it's a word, right? And create a craft with the stories you tell and how you create this undercurrent. When we're watching these dating programs, these men are just dead set on trying to make her laugh to such a high degree of desperation. Try to make her laugh, say the funniest thing. And being funny, they're overt, you know? They're not indirect, they're not unique. If you want to really create impact, you must be indirect. How do these advertisers influence you, and not only you, but the general makeup of society? They do so in an oblique manner. If you're driving down the motorway or the highway, if that's what you consider it, you will pass a McDonald's sign. Now, you'll be speaking to someone on the phone or listening to the music or quite simply focusing on the road ahead, and you won't consciously take into assessment that McDonald's symbol. But when you go home, you might think, you know what, I'll have a McDonald's today, because you have been influenced indirectly through the positioning of that product. Your brain has still absorbed it. You don't want to be direct and bold and crass with how you speak to these ladies. You want to give them something to think about. Because as they think about you, they won't think about other people. You're on her mind. And when you are on her mind, whether she's angry or not, does that not count as love? He's on my mind all the time. Sounds like you're falling in love. That's some quick game. Like and subscribe as always. Peace. Goodbye.